KBLA 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580, download the app.
Jesse Jackson Jr., welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We missed Dr. Wilmer Leon this past Wednesday due to a conflict on Worldwide with Wilmer Leon. Today, Dr. Leon is joining us on Fat Meat Fridays. He's a political scientist whose primary areas of expertise are Black politics, public policy, and American government. For more than 11 years, Dr. Leon was a lecturer in the political science department at Howard University in Washington, D.C. He's the host, producer of the nationally broadcast radio show Inside the Issues with Wilmer Leon on Sirius Satellite Radio Channel 126. He's the author of Politics, Another Perspective, Commentary and Analysis on Race, War Ethics, and the American Political Landscape in the Age of Obama. This book is available on Amazon.com. He's also a contributing author to Democratic Destiny and the District of Columbia, Lexington Books 2010. I also believe that book is on Amazon. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and Fat Meat Fridays, right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good afternoon. Greetings to all your audience. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Dr. Leon, before we get to some of the more pressing political issues, there was a mistrial, the breaking news in California, declared in the Palisades fire arson trial after jury deadlocked on the charges. A mistrial was declared Friday, today, in the case against the man accused of deliberately setting a fire that eventually became the deadliest in Los Angeles history after jurors told the judge they were hopelessly deadlocked. Age 30, a former Uber driver, was accused of setting the fire on New Year's Eve, which rekindled during strong winds into January 2025's Palisades fire. Jurors said they were unable to reach a verdict on any of the felony charges, with a final vote of 10-2 for acquittal. Bill Elasaila, first assistant U.S. attorney for the Central District of California, said the evidence is strong that Jonathan Renderknight is responsible for igniting the fire on January 1st, which eventually became the Palisades fire. We fully intend to retry this case before the new jury and obtain jury and guilty verdicts on all charges and all counts. You know, as I continue to listen to the story on CNN and the other networks that are providing input and coverage of the story, it seems to be so circumstantial. Apparently, there may have been a small fire started by Mr. Renderknight, but then he put it out. And I believe he's one of the persons who called 911, 311, that's what we call it here in Chicago when it's not a life-threatening emergency, to put out the fire. The fire department came and put it out, but apparently underneath that which they put out remained smoldering. And then the winds came several days later and ignited one of the worst fires in the history of Los Angeles. And then they turned around and charged him. And the jurors then came up, Dr. Leon, and said, wait a minute, there's so much negligence here from not only Renderknight, but from the fire department, from people who saw it and didn't call it. They said there's so much negligence that you really can't point the finger at Renderknight, and they rendered a a mistrial. Dr. Leon, your initial thoughts?
This is an incredibly confusing, to say the least, circumstance. You said 10-2 vote to acquit.
That's exactly what the article says.
10-2 vote to acquit, and it's important for people to understand that they need this required a unanimous vote by the jury, so everybody had to vote one way or the other, and you've got a 10-2, but 10-2 to acquit, and then for the judge to hold him over pending the new trial instead of releasing him. I find that on a 10-2 to acquit, I find that very, very interesting. If people, the fact that the evidence is circumstantial doesn't in and of itself mean that the evidence is useless. A whole lot of folks go to prison on circumstantial evidence. Mm-hmm. In fact, they may say more people go on circumstantial than direct evidence. I'd have to look at some numbers on that, but this is it makes one ask, even as far as the judge is concerned, how political is this circumstance?
And the Palisades fire still has nothing to do with the Altadena fire, where we know that the power company had transformers that were sparking and making all kinds of noise, and the power was turned off, then it was turned back on, and that fire affected one of our neighborhoods, to which KBLA Talk 1580 has been very vigilant in standing up and demanding justice. And I'm so grateful to James Farr, whom I had the great privilege of meeting this week, for the editorials that he's been launching on our show about accountability. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA with Dr. Wilmer Leon. We got a lot to talk about with these elections when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, never real, no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Tell me smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-9651. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County Sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We are in Fat Meat Fridays, but we are really worldwide with Dr. Wilmer Leon, who is our regular contributor on Wednesdays in the first hour. Grateful that he's joining us on Fat Meat Friday. Hi, Dr. Leon. Welcome forward to the show.
As always, a pleasure to be back.
Dr. Leon, so it was the day after the election on Tuesday that I was very much looking forward to our conversation. But you know what? I've made no progress and developed no broader understanding of what took place on Tuesday because I so waited to unpack your analysis. Mamdani pulled off a hat trick in New York. Trump hedged his bet in South Carolina, and some of the other key takeaways from the primaries. Dr. Leon, I can't wait to hear your thinking, and I can't wait to read what you're writing. Dr. Leon, your thoughts about what happened on Tuesday?
Well, my focus has really been on New York and Washington, D.C., as Democratic Socialists carried the day in New York and with the mayor's race in D.C. And so I'm asking the question, and this is honestly a question. This is not rhetorical. I'm not trying to be slick or clever. The question to me that comes out of New York and D.C. for the African-American community is a new politics developing that we need to pay attention to, because you can go back to Senator Bernie Sanders as a Democratic Socialist, and with his winning the Senate seat as a Democratic Socialist, and folks, lest we forget, he was winning the DNC primary races until you got to South Carolina, and the party undermined him, telling us he couldn't win when he was winning. So he, up until this point, has kind of been presented as the outlier, as the odd man out. But now you've got Mamdani winning in New York, and now Mamdani is flexing his muscle and unseated two Democratic Party stalwarts, both of whom were backed by AIPAC. And now what is the response from Hakeem Jeffries? Hakeem Jeffries says the mayor has serious work to do in terms of conversations that he's going to have with members of Congress moving forward, as though he owes the Democrats an apology. Let me tell you something, homie. You got stumped.
Yeah.
Mamdani doesn't owe you nothing.
Not even a conversation.
Your ass.
Yeah.
And now you want him to apologize to you? No, Slim. That's what's wrong with your politics.
You know, I think the victory of the Democratic Socialists in New York, in Washington, D.C., and around the country are speaking to the core values in our community.
Absolutely.
In terms of healthcare, housing, education, affordability, in ways that the Democratic Party has not been able to develop an agenda or a message. And as a result of that part right there, that point you just made right there, That part right there. What we're going to find out is that blacks in Congress who have historically identified with the Democratic Party, but even with the Democratic Party and its liberalism, it's been an awkward relationship because the Democratic Party does not go far enough to address, as you always say, the bread and butter issues that are on our tables in these economic times. There's nothing tangible there other than stop Trump. And so all Hakeem Jeffries has done is shown just how conservative he is
Thank you.
against the backdrop and the tone deafness of the Democratic leadership on the question of AIPAC, their money and their funding could prove to be catastrophic in this election cycle. And I think we're seeing just some signs of it. The ramifications, Dr. Leon, of this election in New York is being felt far broader than the city itself and the 5 boroughs.
Espaillat, the sitting Democratic congressman that lost, they were so desperate. AIPAC pumped $650,000 into his campaign at the last minute, and he still got stomped. Now, what does Hakeem Jeffries say? Does he say, you know what, we probably need to sit back, have a conversation with Mamdani so we can figure out what is it about the message that resonated with those, so that we can take this, we can build on this, and we can win with this moving forward. What does he say? He says, no, you owe us an apology. Look, in 1956, Du Bois wrote a piece called Why I Won't Vote. And he said, I shall not go to the polls. I have not registered. I believe that democracy has so far disappeared in the United States that no, quote, two evils, end quote, exists. There is but one evil party with 2 names, and it will be elected despite all I can say or do. There is no third party. Then he continues, if a voter organizes or advocates a real third party movement, he may be accused of seeking to overthrow this government by, quote, force and violence, end quote. Anything he advocates will be called communist. That was in 1956. And we're hearing that in 2026 right now.
No, I think that's absolutely right. And how profound and prophetic the words are by William Edward Burghardt Du Bois in 1956. And it's presenting itself to us not only in the campaign in New York. We saw it in the Cori Bush election. We saw it in the Jamal Bowman election. We saw it in the Jesse Jackson Jr. election. I spent under $300,000 in a campaign for Congress with a half a dozen polls saying that I was winning from the moment I entered the race until Election Day. And AIPAC spent $8 million to stop me, with $3 million of it coming in the last month. And it was people walk up to me, by the way, Dr. Leon, every day. Man, I can't wait to vote for you in November. And I'm looking at them like, what?
Well, look. So so when AIPAC dumped all that money in Chicago against you, did Hakeem Jeffries tell AIPAC they needed to apologize, that they needed to explain? When AIPAC dumped all that money against Jamal Bowman in New York, did Hakeem Jeffries come out to AIPAC and say, you have no business interjecting yourselves into the politics of our city? You need to explain. When they did it to Cori Bush, what I'm seeing here, folks, what I'm smelling here, folks, I am smelling hypocrisy, moral inconsistency, intellectual dishonesty, selective piety is what I'm seeing here. And we as a community need to call it out for what it is and ask ourselves, is a new politics developing that we need to pay attention to?
I think that's right. I was in a candidates forum with, I believe, Emmy Award-winning journalist Marianne Ahern here in the city of Chicago in my campaign, with all of the candidates present at, I think it was South Suburban College. And The first vote that we cast as a member of Congress, if elected, is for who is going to be the Speaker of the House. That's the first vote that we cast when the Congress begins to organize itself. And I, along with other candidates, except for the candidate who defeated me, we all raised our hands and said that the first vote we would cast will be for Hakeem Jeffries. The African-American woman supported by AIPAC who defeated me in this campaign did not raise her hand, waiting for her marching orders to do whatever she's supposed to do on the first vote. That's happening
waiting for
everywhere.
her check to clear. Come on, homie. She was waiting for her check to clear. Wait a minute. Let me check my account. No, it ain't there yet. I can't raise my hand right now. Oh, bing, there it is. Oh, yeah, okay. Now I know what I'm supposed to do.
Doc, that's some hard stuff. Doc, listen, are you seeing the kind of turnout numbers necessary every day that you're on the program, and when you're on your own program, you're advocating for people to turn out in these elections, in the primary process, and obviously in the general election in November? Are you seeing the kind of increased numbers and enthusiasm necessary to put the brakes on the Trump administration and the Trump regime?
In some instances, yes, but I don't think that I have seen a large enough sample size to say, and again, because we're talking primaries, that this is going to translate into a wave, an anti-Trump wave in November. But this is why I will make you nauseous with how often I repeat this. Folks, a new politics is developing. And we as a Black community can take advantage of this. When Hakeem Jeffries says to Mamdani, you owe us an apology, that is an admission of defeat. That's Donald Trump in Iran throwing up his hand saying, y'all done thumped me on this one. This is desperation. This is an opportunity. As Charlie Parker played, now's the time. Now's the time. We can't sleep on this one, folks. And you can't turn to Hakeem. You can't turn to Gregory Meeks. You can't turn to, no. This is grassroots politics here. I'm not saying vote Democratic Socialist. I'm not saying vote for anybody or anything. What I'm saying is read, listen, pay attention to what's being said and what's being done. There is a new politics afoot.
Dr. Leon, we have about 2.5 minutes before we come forward. I've been watching also what's taking place, for example, in Florida, as Debbie Wasserman Schultz has now moved from a district that was predominantly white, and now that an African-American seat has been developed in the 20th district of Florida, she is now running in that seat, a seat that would give an African-American an equal opportunity of getting elected to Congress, which would strengthen our numbers in light of the Voting Rights Act. And I'm wondering, one, your thoughts about that campaign, because there is a movement growing in that primary to hold Democrats accountable for not supporting the African-American.
The community needs to tell Debbie, go get your hair done and stay out of our politics. This is our community. These are our politics. You have proven, AIPAC has proven their interests are not our interests. Our interests are not their interests. And therefore, we need to focus on when you overthrow Jamal Bowman, when you find that other Black elected officials need to be removed from office because they aren't sufficiently pro-Israel, that's not our politics. Folks, if you live in urban centers and you're trying to figure out why your schools are underfunded, look how much money is going to Israel. If you're trying to figure out why you can't get better health care in your local hospitals, you don't have the money to do so. Why? Because the money is going to Israel to fight a foolish war.
Dr. Leon, I know we're coming forward in just a moment. I did want to ask your opinion because I think it's the same subject matter when we come forward on the SAVE Act and Donald Trump using it as a kind of battering ram over the housing program, which was bipartisanly passed in the Congress and in the Senate. They canceled a signing ceremony this week, but there's an onerous provision, a number of them in the SAVE Act, including presenting your passports, this proof of ID, the end of mail-in balloting, Supreme Court as we know it, and what the consequences of that would be for those of us who have historically been disenfranchised and protected by the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., more with none other than Dr. Wilmer Leon when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. Nearly 600 deaths are being confirmed and thousands are injured after the devastating earthquakes in Venezuela. Back-to-back magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 quakes hit. The U.S. is rushing search and rescue teams and humanitarian supplies to the country. Health authorities across Europe are on high alert as the continent faces a deadly heat wave. European nations are experiencing record-breaking heat, which scientists say is the worst recorded for the continent. The heat has prompted cultural landmarks to close, as well as caused Paris police to ask organizers of major events to alter their plans. There's a threat of flash floods for millions across the Northeast and Ohio Valley. A level 2 out of 4 flash flood risk is in place for parts of the region, which includes cities like St. Louis, Missouri, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Louisville, Kentucky. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the free iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. Serena Williams will play her first singles match in 4 years against 20-year-old Maya Joint of Australia. Serena and Joint will meet up Tuesday in the first round of Wimbledon in London. Joint, ranked number 53 in the World Tennis Association rankings, is 20 years younger than Serena. The Compton native is playing her first singles match since the U.S. Open in 2022. Serena has won the Wimbledon Singles Championship 7 times. She and her sister Venus are playing in the Wimbledon doubles competition. Wimbledon starts on Monday. The U.S. men's soccer team needs to regroup after losing to Turkey 3-2 Thursday night in the World Cup at SoFi. The U.S. had already qualified for next week's knockout round before Thursday's match. Several of the team's frontline players did not play. The U.S. Group D champions will play Bosnia Wednesday in the round of 32 in Santa Clara. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
You can't fix what you won't face.
And we face it every day.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Number 14. That's where Talkers Magazine ranked Tavis Smiley on their heavy 100 list of the 100 most important talk radio hosts in America. Join Tavis weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon or 9 p.m. to midnight, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. We're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at kbla1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Please be advised, you may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
I thought those were good for me.
What's healthy for one person may cause inflammation for another. So how do you know what your body actually needs? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements.
Learn more at Viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Fat Meat Fridays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. In the next hour, Gina Towns will be joining us with our very special guest in that hour. But in this hour, where we're keeping it real and we're keeping it 100, Dr. Wilmer Leon, political scientist whose primary expertise are Black politics, public policy, and American government. For 11 years, he was a lecturer at Howard University. Dr. Leon, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
As always, my brother, thank you for the invite. And let me quickly, man, I realized during the break, I had to take a breath. I'm so, this means so much to me. It is so important to me that I think I got a little bit agitated. So let me.
You didn't get more agitated than Kenneth Carroll, who said Hakeem, a.k.a. AIPAC Shakur, is not the person, or maybe he is for the dim AIPAC party, but not for people looking at more progressive options. And that, I think, is what you're trying to say. We should be looking at progressive options.
Love Kenny Carroll. AIPAC Shakur, he's absolutely spot on, 1,000% right. He's Congressman from Senator from Georgia. What's his brother's name?
Raphael Warnock.
Raphael Warnock, yes, has published a book, And he's talking about in the book, he's talking about the morality of the country, and he's talking about how we have to, the crooked places made straight is the title of the book. And he draws from Isaiah, and he's trying to provide a bolder vision of how to live and relate to one another in the country. And he's talking about voting rights and voter suppression. Well, all of that's great, and all of that's right. Reflections on the Moral Meaning of America is the subtitle of the book. But I've got to ask him, how can you talk about the moral meanings of America when you support genocide? People need to be asking him this question. Reverend Warnock, you stand in the pulpit of Dr. King, and you are talking about the moral mission of the moral meaning of America, and you back genocide. I find that to be morally inconsistent. I find it to be intellectually dishonest. I find it to be selectively pious.
So let me not be self-righteous. Let me be the contrarian, if you don't mind. Because of what I believe in, I guess as much money as I could raise for what I believed in was $300,000. My opponent was able to raise $8 million. To run for Senate in the state of Georgia, outside of Atlanta, from the northernmost county to the southernmost county, other than the vote in Atlanta, which definitely can secure the Democratic nomination for Warnock, and it can even secure the Democratic nomination for Ossoff and for Keisha Lance Bottoms to be the next governor of the state. Only Warnock is in a race or a contest for re-election to the Senate that could be upwards over $50 to $60 million to keep that Senate seat. Does he raise that money in Georgia? Or does he have to raise that money around the country? And here's been my experience, even in running for Congress. All of the churches in Georgia, all of the chicken dinners from one end of the country to the other, with our community's lack of resources and income to be able to finance these big contests, that there are some compromises that we make, Dr. Leon, for our representation. It doesn't have to necessarily come at the expense of our moral voice, but it does come at the expense of commercials that we need to run in these various markets in Georgia. Raphael Warnock has to go to some of these places in Georgia. He has to fish, he has to hunt, he has to milk cows, he has to pick corn and soybean and even some cotton if necessary, just to get his seat and get to Washington to be able to say we must defend the Voting Rights Act. Work with me here, Dr. Leon.
Well, you mentioned chicken dinners. Well, maybe they need to have fish dinners as well, because if you're just doing chicken and you're not doing fish, then you anyway. In all seriousness, so to me, all of that takes me to at what price my soul. And we're talking genocide. And you're telling me that the Black community, which in terms of our gross domestic product is bigger than a whole lot of countries in this world, when you look at how much money these mega churches generate on a Sunday, on a Saturday and a Sunday, and you're telling me that with all of this money that goes into these Black mega churches, that we can't afford to fund our politics?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
You're tripping.
I mean it's the country. No. I know a lot of preachers.
And that's not a personal affront to you.
But check this out. But think about it. Here's a guy, Ossoff, I think, is Jewish, right? Ossoff is Jewish. It's very rare to have a Jewish senator elected from the South, and Ossoff is an amazing senator, an amazing progressive in the Congress of the United States. But the fact of the matter is, even though he runs in a different election cycle than Warnock, they essentially share the same contributors because they're both Democratic senators. They are
coming from the same state,
running from the same state. So they're essentially talking not only to the same Georgians, but they're speaking to the same people in various parts of the country, various interest groups that have interests before the Senate. And some people, I think it's easier for them that if your concern is international, my community isn't paying attention to it at home. As long as I'm delivering, I'm putting a chicken in every pot, or delivering housing, or delivering decent education, delivering the basic things that people need in our community. People say, run, Warnock, run. We don't really focus on what Warnock in Georgia is doing in the Middle East or what he thinks in the Middle East. But Warnock knows that if he's going to run commercials in Duluth, in Forsyth County, in other counties, in Marietta, in Macon, and other parts of Georgia, for the kinds of points that he needs to encourage people that he is a senator for all of Georgia, he's going to need a small fortune. He's going to need a small fortune, and it ain't just coming from Georgia, and it ain't coming from mega black churches.
Well, but why isn't it coming from mega black churches? Why isn't it coming from a collective of the black athletic and entertainment coalition that came together to help fund the SCLC when Dr. King was championing the civil rights movement? What has happened to our politics to where we can't fund our politics?
Some of it's dark money now, because one person can show up in a dark money campaign and throw a big old bag of money at a congressional race or at a Senate race.
Yeah, but it's not even technically now with what's the act that allowed businesses to get into politics? I'm drawing a blank.
While you get that thought together, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More with Dr. Wilmer Leon when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
When you turn to the Employment Development Department, we'll help you get there. Whether it's support for you and your family while you find a new job, or the resources to focus on your recovery after illness or injury, we can help you move forward. From support while you bond with your newborn, to helping serve your family while your partner serves our country. Your EDD. We'll help you get there. For more information, visit edd.ca.gov.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Get ready to play at the LA 84 Foundation Free Play Day Block Party, a community celebration with music, dancing, art, food, games, sports, LA Pro teams, giveaways, and family fun all day. Saturday, June 27th at 2141 West Adams from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Register at la84.org. See you at Play Day.
Gas prices got you down. LADWP customers get a rebate of up to $4,000 when you buy a used electric or plug-in hybrid vehicle. Installing an EV charger at your home? Get a rebate for that too, up to $1,500. Visit ladwp.com/EV today and start saving. That's ladwp.com/EV.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't back down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. If you're listening to us on the 405, the 101, the 5, the 10, the 118, or the 110, we hope you have a wonderful weekend. You're listening to Fat Meat Fridays with Jesse Jackson Jr., our very special regular contributor on Wednesdays. Dr. Wilmer Leon is our guest. He's a political scientist whose areas of expertise include black politics, public policy, and American government. Dr. Leon, how can our listeners continue to listen to you and support your work?
I'm on Sirius XM, satellite radio, channel 126, Saturdays from 11 to 2 Eastern. You can get the book, Politics, Another Perspective, at Amazon, and follow me here as well. Go to WilmerLeon.com.
Dr. Leon, before I ask you a question about the temporary protective status for Haitians that Donald Trump has now been able to essentially remove and enforce their deportation. I have to tell you this little story about when I was growing up. one day I was in the restroom as a youngster, and I had a pen with me, and I wrote everybody had written something on the wall. They drew a little picture or something, and I decided to write my name right there in the stall. Jesse Jackson Jr. Big old letters. One day I'm in class, and the principal comes and gets me and takes me to the restroom with a big bucket of water and a scrubbing brush to clean the restroom stall and the walls where I wrote my name. And the last time I identified myself in a restroom stall. Now, with that said, Dr. Leon, I was in Washington not long ago. I thought I saw your name near the reflecting pool. I thought it said Wilmer Leon was here. Your thoughts on the peeling reflecting pool on the 250th anniversary and the wasted money that Donald Trump did trying to fight a pool that fills itself with algae every single year.
Yeah, that was my name you saw, and now I have to admit it, and hopefully they won't come knock on my door and take me away. How are you, America? How can the country trust a fool who can't even paint a pool to run a war? You can't paint a swimming pool? I mean, if you just imagine the reflecting pool it's just a big swimming pool. And you can't paint a swimming pool?
And drove his entire motorcade right down the middle of it while it was under
down the middle of the. Come on, y'all. Stupid is what stupid does. And it was the Citizens United was the bill I was trying to remember.
Yes.
Let me quickly, if I could just give a little data here.
Please.
And that is that Black churches raise an estimate between 11 to 17 billion dollars a year, and we can't fund our politics. TD Jakes, 500 million a year just from his business organizations. Creflo Dollar, up to 69 million a year. Eddie Long, the late Eddie Long, who always seemed to come up short, 100 million a year. And those are probably 2020 estimates. And we can't back our politics.
Some of those pastors are Republicans. Now, they don't bring their politics like that over into the pulpit, but you're naming some of the big ones, and them big boys right there, they are not Democratic regulars or.
But how many of their congregants are? That's a great point, Jesse. How many of their congregants are? So why are you, as a Black Democrat, giving your money, driving your Benzo into the parking lot of a pastor who's a Black Republican? That's antithetical to your reality.
I can tell you this, and I'll say it to you quickly because I do want to hear your word of hope. When my father ran for president in 84 and 88, Dad used to pass the hat in the church, and he probably, after the first 2 or 3 primaries, under the conventional way you run a campaign, probably should have quit. Our campaign was broke, both in 84 and 88. Dad said, I got a poor campaign, but I got a rich message. And he ran a campaign like a revival. And he said, I'm going to run to see what the end's going to be. And that meant both boat tours, getting rid of the planes, reducing staff. Dad kept on running until he got to the Democratic convention. That's kind of the behind the scenes story of the Jesse Jackson campaign. There was no big influx of money, dark money, light money, rich money, poor money. We went chicken dinner, fish dinner, asking Black folks to pass the hat, get us from one city to the next city at a time. And my sense is that when it comes to political campaigns and funding, Dr. Leon, the chicken circuit is still exactly where major campaigns are. Obama's campaign, the wind beneath his wings, was very different. Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, the wind beneath her campaign was very different. But some of these candidates that are going to be in Iowa and New Hampshire who run the conventional route, who are Black, brown, or even female, if they're going to make it through the primary process, They're going to have to roll up their sleeves and roll up their boots and hit the road the way Jesse Jackson did, because waiting for the big Newsom money, the Pritzker money, the Shapiro money, waiting for all of this money to somehow pick out of a multi-candidate field that somehow they're going to arrive at us. Brother, I've run a lot of national campaigns and been involved in many of them as chairman of various campaigns. I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. We're not in that space in our thinking. We have to be, but Jesse Jackson was unique like that.
We are not a perfect people. Our mission to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to house the homeless, to teach the illiterate. There is a call of conscience, redemption, expansion, healing, and unity. Leadership must heed the call of conscience. I'm quoting a man much more brilliant than myself. That was your father.
Reverend Jesse Jackson. You would throw that at me with no more time left in our program.
Of course I would. That's my game. That's what I do.
Thank you for being here, Dr. Leon. Can't wait to see you next Wednesday. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to Fat Meat Fridays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest has been Dr. Wilmer Leon. More with Gina Towns and our very special guest when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. Nearly 600 deaths are being confirmed and thousands are injured after the devastating earthquakes in Venezuela. Back-to-back magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 quakes hit. The U.S. is rushing search and rescue teams and humanitarian supplies to the country. Health authorities across Europe are on high alert as the continent faces a deadly heat wave. European nations are experiencing record-breaking heat, which scientists say is the worst recorded for the continent. The heat has prompted cultural landmarks to close, as well as caused Paris police to ask organizers of major events to alter their plans. There's a threat of flash floods for millions across the Northeast and Ohio Valley. A level 2 out of 4 flash flood risk is in place for parts of the region, which includes cities like St. Louis, Missouri, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Louisville, Kentucky. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the free iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Serena Williams will play her first singles match in 4 years against 20-year-old Maya Joint of Australia. Serena and Joint will meet up Tuesday in the first round of Wimbledon in London. Joint, ranked number 53 in the World Tennis Association rankings, is 20 years younger than Serena. The Compton native is playing her first singles match since the U.S. Open in 2022. Serena has won the Wimbledon Singles Championship 7 times. She and her sister Venus are playing in the Wimbledon doubles competition. Wimbledon starts on Monday. The U.S. men's soccer team needs to regroup after losing to Turkey 3-2 Thursday night in the World Cup at SoFi. The U.S. had already qualified for next week's knockout round before Thursday's match. Several of the team's frontline players did not play. The U.S. Group D champions will play Bosnia Wednesday in the round of 32 in Santa Clara. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
You have something to say, and we want to hear it. KBLA Talk 1580 is engagement radio, not outrage radio. A place where your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas are welcome 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Real talk, real people, real Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580, the station that sounds like the city looks. Tune in on your AM radio dial at 1580. Download our free KBLA 1580 app or listen live on our website at KBLA1580.com.
Unapologetically progressive.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 15. It's Met Me Fridays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And I'm here with the creator of our show, Gina Towns. Gina is the creator of Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, a graduate of Hampton University, a graduate of Princeton Theological Seminary, and an amazing artist in her own right, having released an album a few years ago, at least a song a few years ago, called Yes, number 26 on the Billboard charts. Gina, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Hi, Jesse. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing okay for a Friday that's cloudy and the news that we have, but I still have the faith.
I'm so glad you do. Listen, I'm grateful that HER Ambassador Reverend Kwame Kamu is a dynamic international diplomat, educator, and community activist whose work spans leadership in public policy, spiritual ministry, natural health advocacy, and cultural empowerment is our guest. As co-convener of the Caribbean Civil Society Preparatory Conference to the United Nations Permanent Forum on People of African Descent, the Trinidadian native has been at the forefront of international advocacy and equity dialogues. Reverend, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Greetings. It's definitely a pleasure to be here. Your father certainly was an icon, a legendary one at that, and one of my inspirations growing up. So this is almost surreal for me, and I certainly bow before his throne, even in his ascension and absentia.
I'm so grateful that that you're joining us, and I'm so grateful for your very kind and thoughtful remarks about my father. I will definitely pass them on to my mother. Doc, there's so much, Reverend, going on in the world, certainly in the Caribbean, certainly most recently, the Supreme Court and the President of the United States have lifted, for example, the temporary protective status for our brothers and sisters in Haiti. We can only see what he's doing on the questions of immigration as really a crackdown on people of color, including the challenges to birthright citizenship. I'm wondering, in your thinking, how should we process this?
That's a brilliant question. First of all, before we go on to talk about the Haiti question and what's happening within the region, I want to just pause and remember the lives lost recently and the death toll perhaps still counting and climbing in Venezuela. Our neighbors, our nearest neighbors in Trinidad and Tobago are our Venezuelan comrades and counterparts. And so I'm asking persons, if you can donate, please, whether time, talent, or treasure, to the Venezuelan relief effort. Hundreds of lives lost, a very devastating earthquake, 7.2, 7.5 magnitude. It shook the very core of the country. And so we want to keep them in our prayer and certainly keep them in our hearts. As it relates to the question of Haiti, that goes back, that's a 226-year question, isn't it? Is the question of a people who rise to power by way of a revolution, by way of declaring and demanding their rights, their human rights, their civil rights. It's a people who would have carved out for their own selves by way of warfare on the one hand, but prayer on the other hand, and a certain kind of interdependence on each other on the other hand, to set free San Domingo at the time. We have seen, with regards to the Haiti question, several challenges over the years. We don't want to pretend that all of Haiti's problems are external. Some of them certainly are internal, but the external actors, France, and the cost that Haiti had to pay for their own reparations, for, as it were, their own freedom. Imagine you set yourself free And then in setting yourself free and declaring independence, France then says, well, you owe us for the years that we had you as slaves. You owe us for the colonization process. You owe us. And this is what the debt is. And that debt is certainly a huge debt in billions of dollars. And so with regards to it, any country that has to start off with that kind of debt starts with a deficit. And so we must take that into consideration when we are looking at the IET question. Are there and were there challenges in terms of their own self-governance and internal governance? Yes. Were there challenges in terms of persons who were operating from a standpoint of what we would refer to as less than ideal actors? Absolutely. But we've seen that when Haiti experienced its own earthquakes and its own natural disasters and even some human crises, that when the United Nations stepped in, and then when other so-called good faith actors stepped into the question, we saw cholera outbreaks with regards to UN soldiers on the ground, boots on the ground, blue helmets on the ground. We saw nepotism. We saw other forms of what we would call the bait and switch approach. Organizations receiving hundreds of millions of dollars in donor aid, and according to some estimates, only between 5 and 10% actually hitting the ground, landing the ground. When you add to that the guns and the drugs that are imported into Haiti, they produce none of their own. We see that there's a quagmire in relation to the oogenesis of this problem that is multi-generational, multi-sectoral, and certainly multidisciplinary. And so the IET question is definitely a complex question. They are looking at the need for self-governance. They are looking at the need for an independent, certainly interdependent CARICOM approach to this question of IET. The latest troops on the ground, courtesy the UN and America and our good brothers and sisters from Kenya, has not really realized as much as we would like it to be. But the challenge is that with regards to the process, once you're starting from the wrong oogenesis, you will always come shy of a solution that is inclusive of the people on the ground and respectful of their rights and dignities. So I'm not surprised by the latest political actions and the latest political actors. I think that's a part of the colonial project. But I believe that there's a solution, and I would like to talk about that solution not only in the Haiti context, but certainly within a Pan-African context, and more broadly, a Pan-Indigenous context.
As soon as we come forward, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to His Royal Excellency, Ambassador Reverend Kwame Kamu. Reverend Kamu has 2 decades of multidisciplinary experience on the subject matters that we will be discussing for the next hour on Fat Meat Fridays. Reverend, looking very much forward. As soon as this break is over, we're coming forward on KBLA Talk 1580. More from Ambassador Kwame Kamu and Gina Towns when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy, happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, now the real no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Tell me smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy, happy birthday to KBLA.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm sorry, Your Excellency. I can't hear you. I think you may be muted.
I think you're probably right. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest on Fat Meat Fridays is His Royal Excellency Ambassador Reverend Kwame Kamu, with over 2 decades of interdisciplinary experience from serving as a parliamentary research consultant and CEO of a family-owned company to leading media ministries and community youth initiatives. Reverend Kamu brings deep expertise in communications, governance, education policy, and social reform. He's also a recognized voice in international forums, serving as an ambassador at large for the Congress of African People, executive ambassador of Cicada, Liberia, and international director for minorities for medical marijuana use in the USA. Reverend, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns.
Indeed, a privilege and pleasure again to be in your company, and looking forward to quite a stimulating and riveting discussion.
Reverend, just before the break, you were alluding to wanting some more time to kind of dissect or unpack for us the larger colonial project. This is our longest segment. Please take your time and unpack what's taking place in the Caribbean, in Africa, and the interconnectedness with our brothers and sisters here in the United States.
Thank you so very much for the, again, opportunity. I want to start, if I can, at the beginning, because if we don't, we lose context. One of the things I don't want us to do is assume that chattel slavery and colonization per the last 400 years is a new construct or an invention of Europe. I don't want us also to see what has happened as only an external experience. It was very much an internal one as well. What I don't want us to do is to deny ourselves the agency of being able to recover and restore and repair. One of the things that I do is reparations. But when I talk about reparations, I often talk about reparations from an internal perspective. Now, if you ask any lawyer worth his salt, any international lawyer worth his salt, especially one that is versed in constitutional law and reparatory justice, they will tell you that reparations has 5 essential components. And I'll tell you why I'm going in this direction in a little while. It has the constitutional component of restitution, which is what we would call gains-based losses. And then we have compensation, which operates from the standpoint of what have you lost that we can recover you for. And then it speaks to the issue of rehabilitation. What are the traumas? What are the destructions that we need to come and heal physically, emotionally, socially, intellectually, vocationally, and so on, in the African context, culturally and spiritually, more so. Reparations has a 4th component. It talks about satisfaction, which is all of the bad faith actors recognizing the role that they have played, engaging in apologies, engaging in educational programs to raise consciousness and awareness. And of course, beyond that, it goes into this business of guarantees of non-repetition. And so with regards to those 5 pillars, that's your reparations context from an external perspective. So right now we have France doing reparatory justice in West Africa. We see Dutch doing the same. We see artifacts being brought back from Belgium, the tooth of Patrice Lumumba being brought back, being repatriated to Congo, and these kinds of things. But there's a 6th element that often is not considered. And that element is what we refer to as cessation of hostilities. You can do all of those things to repair harms done in the past. But the problem about the present continuous project is that the harms are ongoing. In other words, there's an active crime scene, as it were. And this crime scene did not start with Pope Nicholas V and his Dom de Versailles declaration that people outside of the Roman Catholic Church within Africa and within the Middle East at the time and elsewhere, that they could be placed into everlasting perpetual servitude, and they can become, as it were, owned chattel by Pope of Rome. That's not your eugenesis, but it certainly is a pontiff with great power that is in charge of several kings at the time, several territories at the time, and basically giving them not only a get out of jail free card, but the spiritual license to go and to subjugate a people and make them into perpetual slaves. And so from that context, we see what is called the triangle coming into play, that Africa, Europe, America interplay of capitalism taking advantage of people groups in order to build new world economies and advance old world economies. But as I said before, this is not new. If we go back to biblical times and even pre-biblical times in ancient Egypt, in ancient Sumer, in ancient India, in ancient China, colonialism, the slavery project, settler colonialism, empires expanding by way of war and bloodshed and tyranny, what I call the predatory model, has been with mankind. Unfortunately for us in the West, and unfortunately for the African, we have been the last to go through that in a major way. And so we have become the poster child of what it is to be a slave, unfortunately. We become the poster child of what it is to be someone who has been subjugated and someone whose rights have been raped and pillaged and plundered in that sense, both people and property. And so with regards to that, there's a need for some internal reparation, some internal healing to take place. And I argue that while there is an external debt to be paid, most assuredly, the internal reparations, the internal self-healing process is even more important, because when that debt is paid, if you are not operating in your right mind and senses, if you don't heal your individuals and your institutions, you will repeat some of the mistakes that we have made in the past, and we will be none the better for the material gain. The material gain must come in concert, I argue, I posit, with an internal memory recovery. I call it a species with amnesia, and I am saying that we must remember who we were before the colonial project, remember what we were, and regain those institutions and regain that kind of model of living. Outside of that, reparations would be sparse and non-substantive, is my argument. And that's the kind of world I want us to see. The world where we take ownership for where we went wrong and do those internal healing processes, while at the same time holding accountable external forces who would have engaged harms and causing them, as it were, through petitions and by way of non-violent means, certainly to do justice and to engage justice, because this world certainly needs a whole lot more justice.
This is a comprehensive approach to these questions of justice, G, and I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to hear at least the tip of the iceberg of where Reverend Kamau's going.
Yeah,
Gina?
This is really foundational. The number one thing, that comes to mind as you speak is that you can't pour new wine into an old skin. And the heart and the mind being prepared in order to receive that which is good, that which is light, and that which will carry one forward. And not just one, but the one must be repaired before you can repair the family, before you can repair the community and the nation and the world. And I think, as you and I talked earlier, the song that came to mind is, as you were talking in the first segment, was what the world needs now is love, and to be able to see that love in action. What does that love in action look like, Reverend?
Reverend, we have about 4 minutes before we come forward to our next break. Take your time.
Thank you. Thank you for that preface. I actually, being a philosopher, have dared to redefine love, because I believe that humanity is operating with the wrong model. In my definition of love, within the United Kingdoms of Ubuntu context, and let me introduce the term of Ubuntu for the listening audience. Ubuntu, coming from Zulu and Xhosa and Shona, Southern Africa, certainly part of the wider Bantu expansion, literally means Muntu, Gumuntu Gabantu. I am because we are. A human is only a human through his humanity. A person is only a person to the extent that he recognizes the personhood of others. And so with regards to that, that sounds very much like your golden rule that was espoused by masters like Gautama, whom we call Buddha, like Yeshua, whom we call Jesus, like Zoroaster, the leader and the founder of Zoroastrianism, going back to ancient Persia, ancient Iran, if you will, going back to Akhenaton, 18th dynasty pharaoh of ancient Kemet. And so this Ubuntu is love in action. But what is love? Is love an affection? Is love a feeling? Is love a sentiment? I argue no. I argue that love is an intercession required to make healthy, happy, and whole. And so when you're looking at love through that lens of an intercession, through that lens of examining and diagnosing that there is a problem, that there's a harm, that there's a trauma engaged, and my response is, how do I make it whole again? How do I make it happy again? How do I make it healthy again? That's the question that love has come to answer. And unfortunately for mankind, we've been operating in the sentiment of love. And for as long as we see love as a feeling, those bars of chocolates, a beautiful bouquet of roses on a special day, an anniversary and so on. Well, those may be seen as what we would refer to as acts of kindness that can perhaps inspire some level of affection. But at the end of the day, love must run much, much deeper than that. And so unless it is an intercession designed to make whole, it's not love. And for that reason, because we are operating with a flawed definition of love, then the self-love isn't what it's supposed to be. Because people would tell you, and I'm trying to hasten before that 4-minute stop, will tell you that they love themselves, but they are engaging in substance abuse. They will tell you that they love themselves, but they are engaging in all kinds of self-harms. They will tell you that they love themselves, but you don't see it reflected in the way that they show up even in their own life to be healthy, let alone how can they make others whole and make others healthy if they themselves don't really truly understand what love is and what is required to bring that love into action.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. You ought to be sharing this program on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on the various platforms, because Reverend Kwame Kamu, His Royal Excellency and Ambassador, dynamic speaker, very clear, and is going to the root, from my perspective, at how some of us are feeling in ways that we may not have been able to articulate. We have another segment with Reverend Kamu when we come forward, right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. California's ballot this November will be seeing a billionaire tax proposal. It would levy a 5% tax on the assets of all billionaires living in California. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom has been a vocal critic of the measure and claims it will degrade California's tax base because of billionaires leaving the state. A half-billionaire issue could come soon, but in a good way. Nearly $500 million is up for grabs tonight in the Mega Millions lottery. The jackpot was up to $467 million in the drawing earlier this week, but no one matched all 6 numbers. So the grand prize rolls over to tonight's drawing, when the jackpot will be at least $489 million. Get BIN News Now on demand, 24/7 on the free iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Serena Williams will play her first singles match in 4 years against 20-year-old Maya Joint of Australia. Serena and Joint will meet up Tuesday in the first round of Wimbledon in London. Joint, ranked number 53 in the World Tennis Association rankings, is 20 years younger than Serena. The Compton native is playing her first singles match since the U.S. Open in 2022. Serena has won the Wimbledon Singles Championship 7 times. She and her sister Venus are playing in the Wimbledon doubles competition. Wimbledon starts on Monday. The U.S. men's soccer team needs to regroup after losing to Turkey 3-2 Thursday night in the World Cup at SoFi. The U.S. had already qualified for next week's knockout round before Thursday's match. Several of the team's frontline players did not play. The U.S. Group D champions will play Bosnia Wednesday in the round of 32 in Santa Clara. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We don't do ordinary. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Please be advised, you may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
I thought those were good for me.
What's healthy for one person may cause inflammation for another. So how do you know what your body actually needs? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements. Learn more at Viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
All I need is one mic. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Some interesting developments as it relates to Destination Crenshaw, or Procrastination Crenshaw, as it's known around these parts. So just north of us on Crenshaw Boulevard in the 10th Council District, there's a black-owned restaurant called The District. Apparently, the restaurant is in some sort of legal dispute with the landlord, and it's gotten pretty ugly. So ugly, in fact, that the 3 black members of the LA City Council recorded a video in support of the restaurant, which is now circulating online. You might have seen it by now. To be clear, here at KBLA, we have nothing but love for Council members Heather Hutt and Curran D. Price Jr., who have been real champions for this particular black-owned and operated business, even though KBLA does not sit in either of their council districts. But take a listen to our 8th District Council member, Marquise Harris Dawson, who, as you know, is also president of the LA City Council.
Marquise Harris Dawson, president of the Los Angeles City Council and representative of District 8. We just want you to know, from the 10th District to the 8th District and all across the city, we love the district. We support Tyree and the whole team that's there. It's one of the most beloved sports watching facilities in our district, and we all stand by them 100%.
All right. Now, for starters, lip service is not leadership, and slogans are not solutions. That said, I played that video at least 5 times. I mean, I was gobsmacked. The council president stands with black businesses 100%? Oh, really? Is that just in the 10th Council District? Good brother, you need to travel south down Crenshaw about a half mile. When you get to Vernon, get out the car and walk a few blocks. Ask the black business owners in your 8th Council District how they feel about being economically asphyxiated, not by an alleged predatory landlord, but by a city project that you launched years ago and cannot seem to get across the finish line. Can I keep it real? Can I keep it real? What is the point of having a black city council president if he cannot find the funds to finish a years delayed project in his own district? What is the point of having a black city council president who cannot curate a business interruption development fund for the suffocating businesses in his own district? I declare, these black faces in high places don't mean diddly squat if they cannot deliver for black people. In the next editorial, I'm going to tell you what accountability looks like. And if the city still can't figure it out, well, I guess we'll have to show them what accountability looks like. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Jackson Jr. Show. The Tracy Jackson Jr. Show. The Tracy Jackson Jr. Show. King Farley drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Rooted in the philosophy of Ubuntu and a lifelong pursuit of knowledge, Reverend Camus' work champions equity, justice, and holistic development through spiritual, social, and cultural leadership. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Fat Meat Fridays with Gina Towns. His Royal Excellency Ambassador Reverend Kwame Camus is a dynamic international diplomat, educator, and community activist whose work spans leadership in public policy, spiritual ministry, natural health advocacy, and cultural empowerment. As a co-convener of the Caribbean Civil Society Preparatory Conference to the UN Permanent Forum on People of African Descent, the Trinidadian native has been at the forefront of international advocacy and equity dialogues. Ambassador Camus, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
What a wonderful time we are having. And of course, as the saying goes, time flies when you're having fun.
It is certainly
Most
educational.
assuredly.
I'm sitting here just receiving and digesting all that you're saying and imparting. Gina?
Sure. I as you started your words and tying your ideas together in the last segment, it was premised on the fact that there is a seed, and that seed, when planted in good soil, and that be in our minds and our hearts, the idea of love and the action of love, and that reparations in and of themselves, if not ready to be received, really don't matter. Can you talk about how we feed each other today and how we plant those seeds with each other when there is so much distrust? And certainly we have turned away, and in some instances turned on each other. And we have a certain darkness that is trying to engulf the people who want to live together.
That's a brilliant question. Certainly Ivy League. I'm glad you asked it. As I wrestle with that question over the years, one of the things that came into the vistas, the recces of my consciousness, my subconsciousness, and my unconsciousness, is the fact that without unconditionality, we are not going anywhere. Once you're starting from a place of trauma, once you're starting from a place of hurt and brokenness, the only way forward is by way of a love that doesn't know what boundaries and borders are. I was talking to the congregation only yesterday. I was saying that there's a difference between speaking in love, acting in love, and becoming love. The room went silent because they wanted to know what the difference is. And today I'm going to talk about that difference very, very briefly. When you have a reason to love, when you have a motive to love, when the circumstances lend themselves to you operating in love, then that type of love has a certain kind of power or pathos, a certain kind of ethic or ethos, and a certain kind of language, logos. But if you really want to be transformative, not just operating in the mundane of the ordinary, if you want to move into the extraordinary, then you have to be able to do what Yeshua said, turn the other cheek. You are going to have to walk the extra mile, and you are going to have to give the cloak also. But for a people who have been harmed and for a people who have been traumatized, we do have trust issues. For a people who have gone through the kind of external atrocities that we have experienced, that Holocaust, that Amangamizi that we have gone through, then your love takes a beating. And there is what we call a pause. I want to give, but I'm not sure what you're going to do with it. I want to show up in your life to make a difference, but I'm not sure if you're going to take advantage. I want to say to you all that you need to hear, but I'm not sure if I can make myself that vulnerable. Love, in the way that is transformative, allows itself that level of vulnerability. Love that goes beyond cookie cutter, fortune cookie type love, sentimental type love, keeps loving even when there is no reason, keeps loving even when there's no motive, keeps showing up even when there is no incentive. And for a generation or two, or I might add 10, we have been raised in an incentivized love. And so we don't know how to operate in that love that operates without some kind of ulterior motive. And until we end up at that space, doing this work genuinely, then we'll be going around the mountain versus entering into the promised land of our final deliverance and ascension as a people.
You know, that's very interesting what you described. It reminds me of the journey from Egypt to the promised land, in which an entire generation had to go because they could not receive, and the next generation had to rise because of, I suppose, a pure-heartedness with which to receive that which is given to make us whole, make us better. That's a very interesting concept for us to have to consider in this day.
No, Gina, I am particularly moved by what Ambassador Camus has said, in part because I've always understood it to be a physical journey from Egypt to the Promised Land. I've always tangentially known that it was a spiritual journey that required a mental change and transformation of focus and an internalization of moving from the slave experience to the freedom and emancipation experience. And what I heard from Dr. Camus, which I had not given consideration to on the level that he has articulated for us and our listeners today, is the spiritual transformation that I can only imagine in this moment that not everyone was willing or understood how to make. That they understood the physical journey, but they did not understand the complete transformative journey, and that may have even led to the wilderness experience itself. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Fat Meat Fridays. We're with Gina Towns, and we're with Reverend Kwame Camus, who's sharing some deep thoughts on the evolution of human thinking and spirituality. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Faye Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at WootenCenter.org. That's WootenCenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. We're not talking about a catch. This is real.
Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at kbla1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Progressive presents the Museum of You. We begin our tour with a unique piece, a relic from the early big screen television era. Remarkable. Next, we find a juicer, which historians believe has only ever been used once. And finally, compact discs from the emo era. A rare find indeed. Some things should be history, but until then, you could protect what's important to you and save by bundling your auto insurance with a renter's policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Created with a share of the 1984 Olympic Games surplus, LA 84 began operations in 1985 as a grant-making and educational foundation. Today, the LA 84 Foundation supports hundreds of nonprofit youth sports organizations throughout Southern California annually, trains coaches, commissions research, convenes conferences, and maintains the world's premier Olympic and sports library collection. They are transforming lives and communities through the power of youth sports. To find out about youth sports programs for yourself or your child, and to get information about the grants and support they offer to schools and nonprofits, or if you want to make a donation, please visit la84.org. That's la84.org. Or you can call them at 323-730-4600. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. If you're on the 110, the 118, the 10, the 5, the 101, or the 405, you're listening to Fat Meat Fridays. the J Lunch Club right here with Gina Towns. Gina, welcome forward to the show.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Gina.
Hey, really enthralled with our conversation with the most excellent Reverend Camus.
I am absolutely being filled by it, Gina. We have the final segment of our program. I'd like to leave the final 3 minutes for Reverend Camus to deliver his word of hope to our listening audience, which is, well, quite frankly, all over the United States and around the country and around the world. We get calls from South Africa, from London, and other parts of the world as well. Gina, you must have a final question or two for Reverend Camus, and then I think we just
he leaves us hanging.
hanging.
He leaves us hanging only to catch us when we come back. And let's talk about Exodus. One of the things that is intriguing to me right now, and something that certainly I have thought about on my own, is the concept of Exodus and where we are. I have friends, who have chosen to leave the United States, whether they have gone to the Caribbean to live, taking their families, or Mexico, or the continent of Africa, and several countries in that have welcomed African Americans. And then I hear there's some places that African Americans should not go right now. But when we think about the whole idea of an exodus in a place where we were born, yet we are not welcome, it also rings very clear of ancient history. So I guess there's a question for me in should we sit still? Should we listen? And how should we be in this hour?
That is a brilliant question. It's definitely not a 3-minute question, but I would try my best. Thankfully, I have the help of the Most High, so I would go in. Firstly, as an ambassador on behalf of sitting royal monarchs in Africa, as well as African royal associations over some 155 plus African kingdoms, I'm in a position to say to you that there is no rejection wholesale of diasporan Africans. As the tip of the spear in repatriation, return, Renaissance projects, I can tell you categorically that there is no wholesale categoric rejection of African diasporan peoples by the royal monarchs and certain progressive nation states in Africa. None. The challenge, however, is that you have some cultural differences, some conflicts of interest. Again, that internal reparatory healing that is required. And unless we are speaking the same language, not language in terms of Swahili or language in terms of Twi or Xhosa or Zulu no. Unless we start speaking the same language in terms of our moral and ethical framework, we will not be able to advance. And so where there has been challenges, perhaps plural, have been challenges in relations to African continentals resettling or perhaps migrating to the West, or Western diasporan Africans returning home, is in what is the cultural context within which we are going to engage this unification. All unification, all projects must have a vision, must have a one aim, one purpose, one destiny. That was the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Some 100 years ago, he was talking about that. And far too often, if you are returning into the African continental contextual framework, but you are bringing the Western paradigm with you, you are bringing the Western capitalist ethos with you, you are bringing perhaps the urban street culture with you, and some of what sometimes comes with that. If you are coming with that hyper competitive contextual framework, then yes, there can be clashes. Yes, there can be conflicts of interest. Enters Ubuntu. Ubuntu is Africa's philosophical framework and its greatest gift to humanity. And if we return to that cultural, philosophical framework, it means then, therefore, that they are speaking our philosophical language. We are speaking their philosophical language, and we can certainly build from there. Otherwise, you're changing geography without changing, as it were, mindsets and realities.
Mm-hmm. Well, that seems to be based in a one love concept, which, of course, that is our Jamaican brothers and sisters always greet or depart in one love. Jesse, how do we end today?
I think everything that has emanated from Dr. Camus' mouth, his heart, his mind, his spirit, through this program has been more than a word of hope. I am completely filled. And I know that if you're listening to us on the 110 or the 118, if you're driving down Sepulveda or Gardena or the Hills, that you are as taken by what you've heard today as I am taken. And Reverend Camus, I hope you will not be, this will not be your last appearance on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Well, I committed to your co-host that I will be here as oft as you would have me to be, because we've only just scratched the surface, really. We haven't talked about what we're doing in Liberia, the humanitarian work in Uganda, the repatriation work in Kenya, the work to be done in Congo, the work we're doing with our brothers in South Africa and elsewhere. We have not had a chance to touch any of those practical, tangible projects and programs to bring about the kind of uplift, tangible uplift that I'm sure is going to bring a lot of happiness and hope to your listeners. But what we didn't do today, by the grace of the Most High, I'm sure with the opportunity, I'm definitely game. You can count me in.
It's going to happen as sure as I'm the host of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More on KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you, Gina. It's been a great week and a great Fat Meat Friday. And thank you, Reverend Camus, for your leadership. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.